This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. There was a time when there wasn't an app for that. Back in the day, I would take notes by hand, use a real egg timer to track my productivity, and use maps. No, not Google Maps, like paper maps, real ones. The kind of maps that still work when space aliens invade and knock out the internet and you have to drive to your parents' farm in Kansas to live the rest of your life in their bomb shelter. Those maps. But now, there is an app for that. And my app streamlined my days in a gazillion different ways. So in honor of the 400th Get It Done Guy podcast, I would like to share the apps that I use to work less and do more. My personal ecosystem is the iPhone and the Mac OS. So if you use a different ecosystem, you may be able to find versions of the apps that run in your world too. Or maybe not, in which case I'm crying real, genuine, salty, salty tears for you. Truly. All of the apps that I mention here are smartphone apps, with the exception of a couple of desktop apps that I'll specifically call out as being for the desktop. Writing is a huge part of my workday, so even small productivity gains in writing and using my computer add up quickly. Normal smartphone keyboards simply suck. I use Swipe, S-W-Y-P-E, and Nintype, N-I-N-T-Y-P-E keyboards. Swipe lets you type by tracing a word with your finger, and Nintype is like Swipe times 10. It lets you swipe one word using both hands at once, and also lets you assign text to long key presses. Nintype, like all custom keyboards, and Swipe aren't as stable under the current version of iOS because, hey, Apple has its problems, but I still use both, sometimes for different things because they have a tendency to be incompatible in different places. But the Nintype developer is an insane mad genius, and he sends out frequent updates, and he is devoted to making it possible to type as fast on an iPhone as you possibly can on a desktop. With every new version, he's getting closer to perfection. To control my desktop and keep things organized, I use Better Touch Tool on my desktop and BTT Remote on my iPhone. Better Touch Tool lets me create gestures for my mouse and my trackpad so that I can manipulate my windows with just a touch to the mouse or tripad. BTT Remote lets me launch apps with a single tap to my phone, move them around, do all kinds of wonderful stuff. I compose text using Markdown formatting, as I've shared in prior episodes. Just go to this episode's transcript at getitdone.quickanddirtytips.com for a link to the previous episodes. The desktop and phone app IA Writer, that's both desktop and phone, it's IA space Writer, lets me compose text in Markdown using a distraction-free interface. The apps share their data magically using iCloud, so I can move back and forth between my desk, my iPhone, my iPad. I'm always magically working on the current version of my documents. When I need to caption an image, I use Over, O-V-E-R, and Retype, R-E-T-Y-P-E. Over is great for all kinds of image editing and annotating, and Retype just has some really fancy formats and designs that you can use. When I need a calculator, I use Power One FE for a calculator that also lets me set up templates and solve equations. It's very handy, and I find it really easy to use. One of my favorite tools for both smartphone and desktop is Calca, C-A-L-C-A, which lets me mix text, markdown, and equations, only it actually solves and calculates the equations. I use Calca when I want to do calculations and also make notes about what and why I'm doing those calculations. When evaluating a business opportunity, for example, or I'm planning a trip or I'm structuring a deal, Calca is my tool of choice. I store all of my notes as text because I've been using computers long enough to realize that any proprietary format like Word or Pages will be obsolete in a few years. Text will be around for a very, very long time. When the cockroaches dig up the remains of our civilization, I want them to be able to read my notes. I format my text with Markdown, and I store it in Simplenote, both the app and the website. That's S-I-M-P-L-E-N-O-T-E, so that I can sync and scan them. Simplenote is blindingly fast. I have about 2,000 reference notes in Simplenote. Now, if I were starting from scratch today, I would probably use Apple Notes to store my notes, but I would still keep them in plain text, and I would still keep them formatted with Markdown, so someday, when I need to move them to whatever the post-apocalyptic platform is, it will almost certainly still support text and probably Markdown. When I'm organizing or sharing other kinds of files, there's a lot of stuff that out there doesn't work, but here is what I have discovered does. I create and share freeform drawings in real time with Jot. That's J-O-T. You can create a whiteboard and someone can watch over the web as you annotate and make drawings. I use Transmit, T-R-A-N-S-M-I-T, for FTP and for directly accessing website files from my phone or iPad. Prompt, P-R-O-M-P-T, lets me telnet to my website for shell access. And if you don't know what those things are, pretend I was just talking about butterflies. Pretty, pretty butterflies. For capturing, scanning, and creating PDFs, Scanner Pro 7 by Readdle, the company name is READDLE, is my go-to app for scanning. That is, capturing crisp black and white images for business. It's what I use for keeping photographs of checks, turning receipt photos into PDF files, and backing up my paper notebooks. Goodreader is a multi-purpose file reader, which is where I store any and all documents that I want to read on my phone. It can even turn PDFs into text to make them easier to read. It's really cool. Scan biz cards. That can't be beat for scanning a business card. And when you scan a business card, it translates the card's printed text into an iPhone contact and gives you the option to add it to your address book. And lastly, QR codes have fallen a little bit out of fashion, but when I need to scan one, I use Quick Scan by iHandy. The program is annoyingly ad-oriented, but all of the QR programs I've used, it has the best functionality. Now, when it comes to email, I'm always looking for ways to overcome the email program woes that plague me. That have been plaguing me for years. Email is not my friend. My current favorite app is Spark, also by Readdle. Spark separates out notification emails and new emails, and it makes it easy to pin an important email or snooze a message to have it returned to your inbox later. Spark. Very cool. My main address book app, which is, after trying a gazillion of them, is just plain old Apple Contacts. But I do augment it by using the app Groups, Groups, which lets me manage groups of contacts very flexibly. And then there's productivity. And of course, being the Get It Done guy, I need apps for productivity. As my main calendar, I use Calendars 5, also by Readdle. Todoist, Todoist, is my main to-do list program, and I use Apple Reminders for my family shopping list. I use the Sunrise app and its associated custom keyboard for amazingly quick, simple meeting scheduling for my cell phone. And if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. It is the best rapid scheduling solution I've ever found. In fact, it is so good that Microsoft acquired Sunrise. I'm going to guess that they'll do what they do with all great technology they acquire. They'll discontinue it in favor of a half-broken, poorly implemented non-functional app based on Outlook that completely ruins and destroys everything great about Sunrise. So act fast, because it's only here for a little while. I may have used an egg timer in the past, but those days are long gone. Or maybe only a few years gone. But egg timers are fun. They ding. But now I use Focus, Focus, to do the Pomodoro method. And if you want to know more about Pomodoro and speed dating your tasks with Pomodoro, you can check out the episode where I explain speed dating your tasks. You can find a link in this episode's transcript. For my unfortunately hypothetical daily mindfulness meditation, I use iKey clock and timer. That's I-QI. For timing workouts and recovery between sets at the gym, I use an inexpensive wristwatch. If you try to use a smartphone at the gym, you risk getting too distracted and ruining the timing you need to get the best results. You'll also miss out on meeting people who might be clients, vendors, or business partners, all of whom I've met at the gym. As far as other miscellaneous apps, I use Pocket Earth for offline maps. I use KickMap, Kickmap, to get around the New York City subway, and Exit Strategy, which tells me exactly which subway cars and which doors to use so that I can make my transfers quickly. Carpenter is great for useful tools like a level and a ruler, and if I need random numbers, and don't we all, little Sally, don't we all, random.org will generate real random numbers based on lightning strikes half a world away. Oh, and really, probably most importantly, I use universes. If you want to attend two events at the same time, you enter them into universes. Over the internet, it shoots a photon at a silvered mirror in a lab in Switzerland. Based on the photon's behavior, it tells you which task to do. If you believe the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, that photon split the universe, and now there's another universe in which you're doing the other task. Just in case I need to do two things at once, this is super handy. Whew, there are a ton of apps out there, but these are the few I've really stuck with. If you want more information on them, search away using DuckDuckGo, the search engine that doesn't profile you, track everything you do, and give the results to the NSA. So maybe now I use Apple Maps along with real ones, but always remember, in the event of a power failure, you need to know your way around without an app, because the best app of all is your brain. And when it comes to surviving the zombie apocalypse, remember, your brain. Use it or lose it. This is Steve Robbins. Follow Get It Done Guy on Twitter and Facebook. I run webinars and other programs to help people be extraordinarily productive and build extraordinary careers. If you want to know more, visit steverobbins.com. That's SteverRobbins.com. Work less, do more, and have a great life.